What is going on, guys? I'm Pete and welcome to Retro Game Attic. I was lucky enough to have recently picked up this free CRT TV off of Facebook Marketplace. This wouldn't be a big deal as little as a few years ago, but lately people are beginning to appreciate these old CRT TVs, and very rarely do I ever come across a free one personally. I wasn't in the market for another CRT, but I just couldn't turn down a free one, so let's take a closer look at my score. This is the 19-inch sharp curved CRT TV model 19K M100S from 1998. The outer casing of the TV is your standard late 90s CRT TV fare. The remote control wasn't included, but luckily there are some face buttons on the front of the TV. I like the center located power button placement, the slightly rounded casing edges, and the speaker grill fading. The whole thing looks super late 90s to me. The TV features one composite input and a mono audio input on the front, and there's a standard RF input on the back. The plastic of the TV has this slightly textured feel that was on a lot of the cheaper units back then. I like the quote-unquote slim profile of this TV. The rear casing is elongated just to accommodate the CRT. The face buttons are pretty spongy, but they do work with a good press. The TV powers on, we're able to cycle through the channels, and the speakers do work. We're not dealing with anything high-end here, but a free TV is a free TV. There is some tape residue on the casing and the side vents, and little crevices are all dusty, so I'm going to give the outer casing a good cleaning, and then we'll see how a Model 1 Sega Genesis looks on it. Let's turn this bad boy off, unplug it, and get to work. I'll start with the top of the casing that has 4 spots with caked on tape residue. I'll use my trusty Goo Gone and apply it to each of the spots. I'll let it work itself in there for a little bit. Next, I'm using a plastic scraper tool to see if I can scrape off the residue. I'm going to speed up the video just a little bit here, but I was able to work at it and get the front 2 tape spots looking super clean. And the 2 spots on the back of the TV were pretty bonded with the TV casing, but I did my best on those and they turned out okay. Moving on, I'm going to clean the outer casing with some simple green degreaser. I just applied a few sprays and wiped it all down. I should note that I started with a paper towel, but I switched to a microfiber cloth since the paper towel was leaving residue on the textured plastic of the TV. For those casing vents, I gently sprayed some simple green downwards on them and worked it all out with an old toothbrush. From there, I hit the front of the TV casing with simple green, and then I finished off with some Windex on the glass screen. And check out how good that looks. The simple green really does make this old plastic shine and look almost new. The front, sides, and back all look great. The side vents really came out solid as well. Like I said before, I was able to completely remove 2 of the 4 tape residue areas. The ones that remained are on the back of the unit and won't be seen, so no big deal. That simple green almost gives the casing a glossy finish. I'm super impressed with how that came out. Now that we got the TV looking good, let's try some retro gaming on it. We'll plug it back in, power it on, and I'm starting with the RF connector on the back first. And check that out, Golden Axe looks great on here. Now you can see the geometry is slightly off on the bottom and the left side of the screen, but that can be adjusted later. Obviously, you can't hear the audio, but it's passable. The mono audio doesn't do the game any favors, and the speakers sound slightly tinny and just cheap sounding. The game runs great on it though, and the display and colors are nice and vibrant. Enough with RF. I moved on to hooking up the console via the front composite input, but I did make a glaring oversight. The TV lacks any sort of input switching button on the front, so the only way to switch inputs is via the remote control, which like I said before, is missing. So RF it is. It's kind of a bummer, but it's better than nothing. I'm not really surprised that this TV is missing such a basic feature since it screams budget TV to me. But I have to say that I remember cheap TVs back then not being so stripped down as this one is. Overall though, this TV was 100% free and I just can't complain. I may track down the remote in the future if I decide to hold on to it. I found a few cheap ones on eBay for less than $10 shipped, or I can just track down a universal remote as well. I hope you enjoyed this little overview and demo of the Sharp 19K M100S. It is a bargain basement TV that gets the job done, especially as CRT TVs become increasingly rarer. I was happy to save this one from certain doom though. So the question I have for you all is, what should I do with this TV? I already have a 20-inch flat screen Trinitron and a 27-inch curved Trinitron, so I'm pretty much at capacity for CRTs, but I'm interested to hear what you have to say. Please be sure to let me know in the comments. Thank you all so much for checking out Retro Game Attic. I really do appreciate you all. Have an awesome day and stay tuned for the next one.